Oh, it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Could you be mine? Could you be mine? Please won't you be my neighbor?
Beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this beautiful wood, a neighborly day for beauty.
Hello, neighbor. Classroom neighbor.
I have always wanted
who could that be?
neighbor just like you. Always wanted to live in a neighborhood.
Well, how are you, Mr. McRae?
Fine, Mr. Rogers. Speedy delivery. I got a speedy delivery right there. Just sign right there. Speedy deliveries. Thank you. There you go.
Ooh, let's see what we have here today. Ooh, today is about the 70s.
In all of my years of public life, I have never profited from public service. I've earned every cent. And in all of my years of public life, I have never obstructed justice. And I think, too, that I could say that in my years of public life, that I welcome this kind of examination, because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
The 1970s were a great time of change in our nation's history, marked by key events such as the Kent State Riot, the Watergate scandal, the Vietnam War, and unrest in the Middle East. Problems around the world and within the U.S. made the 70s a time of dissatisfaction with the way society and government worked. For this reason, people began seeking ways to escape traditional life, which explains the unusual fads and fashions of the time. Also, the growing political awareness from opposition to the war in Vietnam. All these events prove that the 1970s were indeed a pivotal point in our nation's history.
The 70s weren't the best of times, man. Corrupt government, the war in Vietnam. We found ways to free our mind, though, man. Rock and roll freed our soul, man. But these were not happy days.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days. The weekend comes, the cycle hums, ready to race to you. These days are ours. Happy days. These days are ours. Blue black, gray sky, hello blue. There's nothing can hold me when I hold you. So right, it can't be wrong. Rockin' and rollin' all week long.
I'm Ron Howard.
Boy, there was some strange stuff in the 70s.
I am an anti-Christ. I am an anarchist. Don't know what I want, but I know how to get it. I wanna destroy, possibly, 'cause
Well, you see, the social turmoil and the stagnating economy were large factors contributing to the changes occurring during the 70s. The social turmoil was most definitely caused by the Vietnam War. You see, the war forced American citizens to pick a side, either before the war, like the Hawks, or against it, like the Doves. And the problem is that it's hard for those groups to compromise. But fortunately, by the 70s, most people realized that we needed to stop the war.
The government knew the people wanted to end the war. The problem was getting out of there with American dignity and honor. Nixon's plan was to escalate the war and take out the North Vietnamese and Viet Cong using bomb raids. Then we'd slowly pull up the troops over an extended period of time. The South Vietnamese would take over the war, and we'd be able to leave. This process that Nixon came up with is called Vietnamization.
Unfortunately, the more Nixon escalated the war, the more fiercely the people resisted. And as the war continued with such strong opposition, the people started to question their government and think it might even be corrupt. Their trust was further broken with the Watergate scandal in 1972, as the people watched their president being convicted of crimes for breaking his contract with America. Before Nixon's fate was decided, he resigned.
Nixon's presidency wasn't all bad, though. He made great strides with relationships with foreign nations that are threats, such as China and Russia. He visited China in '72 and opened up economic relations with Mao Zedong. And what about when he went to Russia and signed the ABM and SALT treaties, reducing the chance of nuclear warfare?
It's time for what life would be like without the 70s.
Hello? Oh, she's not here. Here. Let me write that down.
But there are no post-it notes.
Huh?
And there are no cell phones.
No! But at least I have my VHS and VCR.
But there is no VHS, hence no VCR.
No!
Hi, I'm an economist. The 70s experienced the worst economic decline since the Great Depression. It was due to a number of factors. Richard Nixon had to choose between LBJ's Great Society and the Vietnam War. He escalated the war, spending billions of dollars. This led to a lack of products and a dramatic increase in inflation. On an international level, countries such as Germany and Japan began to compete in industries once dominated by America, such as steel, automobiles, and electronics.
Because of the social turmoil and stagnating economy, the can-do American spirit gave way to a sense of limits. This realization frustrated both policymakers and citizens who remembered the optimism of the quarter century after World War II. The post-war generation had never met a problem it couldn't solve, but now an unpopular war and a stagnating economy brought about the end of the self-confident post-war era. Along with it, the liberal dream that a society could spend its way towards social justice.